Okay, so now what are the platforms where the vulnerabilities are found? See, we have already discussed various platforms. Those platforms only I've discussed here, such as Android applications. I've already discussed that there are various Android applications that are being rolled out on day-to-day basis on the App Store or on the Play Store, okay, or on the Microsoft Store. But if I'm talking about the Android applications, then it will be hosted on the this Play Store. So now, if those applications are vulnerable, then in that case, there are the vulnerabilities for Android applications. Your Android might be on risk, though Android are safe to use because there is containerization kind of thing. There is like no other application can communicate with each other unless the APIs are used. So that thing is secured. Android is secured unless your mobile is rooted. Then comes the web applications, the web apps that I've already talked, using the vulnerabilities of web applications present on the web applications. The attacker can exploit and take leverage of that in order to harm your organization. Then iOS applications. Now, iOS applications, like there are various vulnerabilities that are found in uh, even on the apps, this app store, like the iOS applications. Mm, the applications which are only dedicated for the Apple mobiles. Then there are the APIs. We have already talked. APIs at the end of the day, they are having the backend code which is getting executed. API is application programming interface. Okay. So application programming interface might not might, it may be having some kind of vulnerability if it is not coded in a secured manner. Then there are various hardwares. In the hardwares, there are various vulnerabilities which can be exploited. So even your hardware has to be properly secured. Okay, there are various side channel attacks and all. So again, that goes to the hardware hacking part. So hardware is even not secured if it is uh, like if preventive measures are not taken by the company, by the OEM. In that case, the hardware is even vulnerable to various attacks. Then comes the network. In the network, we have already discussed here that uh, we were using the NIDS and DLP kind of firewall kind of devices to secure our network. So network may be having some kind of vulnerability. What kind of vulnerabilities can be there in network? Let's talk about this network uh, vulnerabilities. Like just have a gist on this. So network vulnerabilities. What kind of vulnerabilities can be present in network? So we just talked about the router. So if the router which is running on the default credentials, again, this can happen. The network of a huge organization. If I'm talking about Amazon, these are the Amazon MNCs, okay, Amazon and uh, Microsoft. They are the MNCs actually. So they have a huge network. Large amount of devices are connected throughout the globe. I'm not talking about the internet specifically, but if I'm talking about the organization or a factory kind of thing, then they might be having few routers which are running on the default credential, or even your home routers which are present. So those home routers might be running on the default credentials as well. So again, this can be a vulnerability. You might not be seeing it as a vulnerability. Why? Because it has not been exploited yet. But once the attacker is able to take over your router, then he can do various kind of other stuff as of pivoting and all. Easily he can do. So router is one of the things which can be found in the network can be found as a network vulnerability. Then there are various IoT devices which are attached in the network. IoT devices, IoT is Internet of Things. So let's suppose uh, there is some thermal camera. Let's suppose there is some thermal camera. Okay, so thermal camera is sending the data, or let's take the example of IP camera. Okay, so IP camera might be sending the footage of the room or somewhere, the place where it is installed. So that thing, that IP camera is sending the frames to a server, and that server can be seen on your, or that server is redirecting those things to your client, which is installed in your Android phone. So in your Android phone, you are just watching the footage of the place where the camera is installed. So now let's suppose the attacker was able to uh, the attacker was able to uh, get into your home camera, home IP camera, using the default credentials. Okay, so now he can also watch the whole footage of your room, and he can get to know that, okay, at this time your house is empty, no one is present in the house, and he can be using it for some burglary or something. So IoT device is one of the things uh, which can be found vulnerable, or even there are cases where the IoT devices actually have some kind of OS installed in the hardware. Okay, so that OS mostly it runs the Linux because it is lightweight. And what he can do, or the attacker can take over the IoT device, and he can perform the privilege escalation kind of stuff also in the IoT device. So these are the basic vulnerabilities that a person can found in the network. Though there are way more other vulnerabilities which can be found through network, but there these two three things I want to discuss to let you know that, okay, even the network can get vulnerable. Apart from this, now we have the smart cars as well. So we have smart cars where, or the driverless cars, where the automation, where the sensors and AI is being used in order to drive the car. So what if the driverless car gets hacked? It is also working. It is also having the digital circuits. It is also having some kind of IP. Okay, or even the IP. Oh, sorry. Even the normal cars have the Android screens right these days. So even those interfaces can also get hacked. To which we call infotainment. So yes, these are the platforms. Apart from these platforms, there is one more platform, the satellite. The satellite also gets hacked. So all these are the platforms, and every platform has their own complexities and their own range of vulnerabilities which are getting hacked or which are getting exploited uh, by the various attackers around the world.